Hey guys, this is Charles from worshipguitarskills.com, and I figured we'll do a little something different than usual this week. And I figured what would be fun is if I give you an inside look into my gear and the way I pack it, and so that it's all ready to go when I have to go off to rehearsal or playing on a Sunday morning. I don't want to be thinking about my gear then. I just want it to be ready like a pick up and go so I can plug and play when I get to church. So let's start with like the newest addition to my rig, which is this Kemper bag. And more importantly, inside the Kemper bag, I've got a bunch of goodies. So as you would expect, there'd be a Kemper in there. That's the piece of gear I use for all of our videos, and getting a lot of like really great feedback around the tone. And I'm a big proponent of the Kemper because yeah, it is definitely a pricey investment, no doubt. But if you look at what guitar equipment costs, like proper pedals and an amp and all those kind of things, if you buy those separately, you'll very easily spend way more than what a Kemper would cost. So if you've got the funds available, or you have someone that can help you with that, if you get a Kemper, you're just going to elevate your tone game to the next level. Alright, so when I ordered my Kemper, I got one of these bags. Inside there's a zip area like this. And in the zip area, I've got a couple of things. I've just got a set of Shure in-ears. I think it's at SE215s or something. They are fine. They're not the greatest out there. But if I want to get something that's going to be considerably better than this, then I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of money. So I'm quite happy with the Shure SE215s. And then, of course, playing guitar, you need picks. And so I've got my pick case here. And inside here, I've got... my pick of choice is this Altex Jazz 3. So I really like that. And then I've got a couple of other picks as well, like, you know, red and white shark fins, which I never use. But sometimes the worship leaders, you know, they forget their picks or whatever, then I can help them out and give them a shark fin. I have a little tool like this. Who makes this? I don't even know. I just bought this. I think this was at Carter Vintage Guitars in Nashville. So it's like a multi-tool if I need to, like, you know, tighten some screws or whatever the case may be. At least I've got some gear with me to do that. And inside my SE215s, I've got a connector that I can use to plug into the monitor mixers there. And I always have an extra one. Mostly for myself if one of my first go-to ones stops working. But sometimes someone else forgot their connector and whatever. And then in the same way I can help out with a pick, I can help out with a connector as well. Then I've got my old trusty, this is an iPad 4 I believe. So it's quite old technology right now, but it's perfect for what we need at church. So the two main apps, I guess there's three main apps that I use in the church setup. Number one is Planning Center, so I can see whenever I've been booked. That stuff is all there. I can listen to the songs, I can see the set list. So, and then I also have Music Stand, which is like obviously linked with Planning Center, so the worship leaders would load up all the charts in the right keys. And then I've got Music Stand as a chart for my charts, right? But then I also have what's known as Chart Builder. Multitracks makes this one. And that is if I have to do like, sometimes I also perform the role of an MD. And what I love about the way that they've done their charts is you can just at a glance see the full structure of the song, and it's also got some prompts here. So for example, for let's see, The Victory Is Yours starts with piano pad and the bass comes in softly, and the chorus, the full band comes in softly. There's a 1-bar breakdown, there's a full band with a tom groove in verse 3. So it kind of helps me just, you know, with what's going on with regards to the actual song. And very easily you can change the key. If you play with a capo, you can do that. You can just do some really cool stuff. So that's Chart Builder from Multitracks. All right. So that's my iPad. I always make sure that it's charged right before I go. So in my house, in our kitchen, we've got like a charging dock. So I make sure my iPad is fully charged because when I get to church, I can just pop it on a stand and I don't have to worry about whether it's charged or not. Then I've got some other stuff that's not gear related. Some things from my kids that had Mother's Day and Father's Day, so they drew me some hearts here saying I'm the best, all red and stuff. So obviously that's awesome. It's all about family. And then I've got a couple of pieces of paper that says reserved, because obviously I'm there early in the morning, and then I can just put this on the seats. It's not very professional, but it gets a job done. Then my wife and kids have a place to sit when church starts, right? Very important. And then obviously this piece of gear, you all would have probably seen this either in some of our videos or just be familiar with the Kemper Profiler. I love this thing. It just makes my life so much easier. So we'll do a deep dive on the Kemper at some point. Now we also have these two side flaps. This one here right now I think is empty. When it gets cold, like it does in South Africa, I've got a beanie that I can put in here as well on my way to church, because as you guys know, I don't have hair, so that keeps my body temperature sorted. Quick side note, I was one day praying for boldness, but my pronunciation was wrong, so I lost all my hair. So you got to be careful with what you ask for, right? And articulation and diction, all that fun stuff. All right, so all jokes aside, elixirs. I love these strings. They just last forever. They keep their tone for a really long time, and I can literally play a set of elixirs on my PRS for months. They won't break, they won't lose their tone, and it's really money well spent. And I always find that if I have extra strings with me, then I never break a string. It's kind of Murphy's Law, right? So it's a set of strings right there in case I snap a string, which hardly ever happens, but I come prepared, right? So that is the inside of the Kemper bag. Now, of course, all the stuff has to be plugged in, right? So for this, I got my cable bunch right here. So number one, this is kind of like the Kemper's version of a Cat 5 cable. So I connect my Kemper to my floorboard, which I'll show you in a second. Then I've got like, I don't know what you would call this, but this is the cable that connects my volume pedal to the Kemper. So yeah, forgive me for not knowing the exact name. It's a kind of a jack to jack, but the connections has to be a certain kind of connection because the volume pedal has to, I guess, send information or whatever the case may be. I just know it works. Then I've got, I think these are Mugami cables. So they're pretty good quality cables, an angled jack for my guitar to go into the Kemper. And then I've got a kettle cord, right? But what I've got with this kettle cord, which is kind of cool, is I've got an extender on here. So as you can see, let's pull this apart. So instead of it being this length like this, I've got this additional part here. And you know what this does for me, guys? One of the principles I subscribe to in life is what I call extreme ownership. So if I get to church or whatever, a gig or whatever the case may be, yes, technically there should be a power supply for the guitar player at right where I put my gear. But sometimes they need to move you or whatever the case may be, and you might be a little bit further away from the plug than what you would typically be. Well, now I've got the option with a longer kettle cord that I can always be plugged in and not worry about this. So now I know, regardless of what's going on the stage or on a Sunday, I can just pick up my bag and I can go, and my Kemper bag is sorted out. I just need to remember, obviously, to charge my iPad, and once I've charged it, to put it back into the bag. That's kind of part of like when I'm rehearsing the songs and the parts. Obviously, I've got my charts out there, so that's what I do. Now, the Kemper is awesome, and one thing I love about the Kemper again is the fact that you have this awesome controller. Now, depending on the camera angle, you might see a bunch of dust on here, because of course we step on it and we pick up dust wherever we go. So this can definitely do with a clean. But it's just the floorboard. I used to have a massive configuration with the Kemper pedal board and a bunch of like Strymon pedals and JHS pedals and Boss ES8 switcher, and I just felt it was overkill. I get everything I need here. I can control my Kemper with the pedal. I've got patches programmed. I can tap my delays. I can switch delays on and off, reverbs on and off, add more drive, add boosts. That's typically what I do with the tone. And then this is my Dunlop Volume X mini pedal. It's like a low friction band drive, they say on the pedal here. And that I plug into pedal number 5 at the back here, because then I can use it as a volume pedal. Now, what's the song called? I forget the name now, but there's a Bethel song that has like a whammy effect. And I've got it programmed for that tone, that if I just change the input from 5 to 6, then it acts as a whammy pedal. Glory to Glory, that's the one that uses that. So this is my floorboard. One thing I will change on this is I'll actually get myself another volume Dunlop mini pedal, so that I can control both the volume, and then I can assign the second pedal to control any parameters, like maybe the mix of the delays, or maybe use it as a whammy pedal, or whatever the case may be. So again, it's got its own bag. They both have straps. So when I get up, the Kemper goes on the one shoulder, this one goes on the other shoulder, and I've got a free hand for my guitar. And very importantly, on Sunday mornings, I need to have some coffee, so I always stop at McDonald's just before I go to church, and I buy myself a nice large black filter coffee, and that kickstarts the morning nice and early. Alright, so next up, the reason I mentioned the coffee, because I have a free hand, right? The Kemper goes on the one shoulder, the pedal board on the other shoulder, my guitar on the one hand, and I can carry my coffee. Very important to be efficient, so I don't have to do 2 trips and all of that, right? So this is my guitar. This is a Porridge Smith Custom 22, and I bought this guitar second hand in 2001 or something like that. So it's been with me for almost 2 decades, and yeah, it's my pride and joy. I love this guitar. It's got the wide fat neck, so it feels nice and chunky in my hands, and it just gives a lot of body. I love the tone it gives. Strats are awesome, but for me particularly, when I play a Strat in church, it just doesn't give me the body. Alright, and if I play something like a Les Paul, or like something with more body, then I lack some of more of the higher end brightness or whatever. So the PRS for me is just perfect like that. One thing that's different on my PRS is, I don't even know what you would call these, but I've got these strap locks. Let's see if there's a name on this. Maybe Charlotte or something like that, I'm not sure, but it allows me to lock it into the PRS, and then I've just got like a Levi's leather strap. A friend of mine gave me a nicer one than this. I just need to like replace the strap locks and put it on the new strap. Then I've got a capo. I never use a capo on the electric, but it is there in case I need it. Then I have a slide. I don't play much slide, but it is there when I need it. I've got a string winder, which of course I don't need with the PRS because of the way the locking tuners work. But it's got, I've got a wire cutter or string cutter to get rid of like the excess string when I play. And then I've got a tuner that I just a clip-on tuner, which I leave in my guitar case. Sometimes I put it in my Kemper bag, but then it happens sometimes when I just take the guitar, and if I go somewhere else, I don't have the tuner with it. So that's why I like to have the tuner with the actual guitar case. So that is my rig. I've got my guitar on the one hand, the Kemper bag on the other, and then the floorboard. So the only thing that I would really change in my rig is I will probably get more familiar with my Kemper. They've released the new reverbs. I haven't had time to install that yet. Well, I think it's installed, but I was just going to go over some more of the shimmery reverbs, etc. I'll get the extra pedals. So I've got 2 expression pedals for the floorboard. And one other thing I'm definitely going to get is one of the, don't know if you say mono bags or mono bags, but they actually make it like a dual guitar bag. Really nice and sturdy. And in that case, I'll take my PRS, which will be my go-to, and then whatever second guitar I have, mostly as a backup, or in case I want a different tone for a different song. And the cool thing about that, it's a backpack style guitar. You just throw it on your back with straps, and then you've got 2 hands free, right? So that's just important so that you can be mobile with the way you work. So of course, this all goes into the van. Before I leave on a Sunday, it's already packed and ready for me to go. And I just find that this is so much better. Like, I don't have to remember every time what I need to take. It's all there. It's all as a place. So I thought about it once. Now I can just pick up my gear and go. Secondly, time is always of the essence, right? So I don't want to like in the morning look, where did I put my kettle cord? Where's my iPad? Did I charge it? Oh shucks, I need to go and get an extra pair of strings. You know, all these things is just, it makes you think too much, right? When you can just think once, pack it, and now you can really be present and in the moment, and you can go to church knowing that your gear is working fine, you know your songs, and you can be really present there. A lot of great stuff happens when you are literally just there and available without being distracted, like, did I bring all my stuff, or worrying that now you've got a plane, you don't have picks with you, or all these kind of things. And that used to be me back in the day when I would, like, every time try and get all my gear together. But then I figured, you know what, let's get a system dialed in, and I just follow that going forward. So hopefully this has been insightful for you guys, kind of seeing what kind of gear I'm using on a Sunday, how I pack my stuff, how I make sure it's all ready to go so I can plug and play when I get to church. And I'd love to know, you know, what kind of gear questions you have. Number one, let us know in the comments below. And also tell me a little bit about your setup. You know, what's your favorite guitar? What are you using for your effects? Are you using an amp? Are you using something like a Line 6 Helix or a Kemper or a Line 6 XT Live? Just tell me a little bit about your rig. Always fun to hear what other people are using. So there you go, guys. Something different for this week. If you're on the Sunday, have a great Sunday at church. And we'll be back with our regular programming next week, focusing on skills again. And we'll also be publishing some additional acoustic guitar resources if you just want to learn to use the acoustic to empower you as a worship leader. So we are going to be adding that to the mix as well. We've also got some other exciting things that will come up in the very, very near future, but we'll get to those surprises in due time. Alright guys, that's it for today. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.